All right. Hey, Shalom, Shalom, Shalom. First and foremost, I'm going to say call on Yahweh by Hashem, Yahweh Shai, by Hashem, Rakakwadash, giving all praises to Yahweh by Hashem, Yahweh Shai, by Hashem, Rakakwadash, the King of Kings, the Lord of Lords, the God of Gods. Much love to his only begotten Son, Yahweh Shai, whom the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ and other names that don't have no power. Um, Much love to the chosen children among Israel, whoever they may be, the elect among Israel, and much love to the beautiful Akim, the beautiful prophets among the children of Israel, who do everything in their power to show Yahweh Bashem Yahushai that they love Him and they fear Him, and they give us everything that we need to know about updated news and the proper breakdowns of the Bible, and that they teach us line upon line, precept upon precept. Much love to those guys. Um, Much love to the beautiful Aquaf, the beautiful women, to the beautiful women of the of the Israelites, the beautiful Aquaf. There's not a lot of you who came back to the new covenant and who fear the law, statutes, and commandments of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, and they listen and they learn in silence. Coming back at you with another video through the power and spirit of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, and I'm just gonna go by the spirit. And today's lesson is called Message, or today's title is called Message, because we're starting to get closer and closer to these strange times and these different calamities, and these these signs and these prophecies are intensifying in a way to the point to where if you're not prepared, no, well, let's just put it this way: you got time to prepare, but you don't have much time left. So Yahweh Bashem Shai is beginning to visit the earth in which he had made. And I'm going to get a scripture on that very scripture. And we're going to read some of the precepts too, because we got a lot of things going on. A lot of wars and rumors of wars with America attacking Venezuela and taking the President Maduro in. And at the process, they succeeded on taking all the oil from Venezuela. Now they want to occupy Venezuela and absorb it into the U.S., I guess. This is what I heard. You got the Neuralink as well, which is the grain of rice in your hand. Neuralink is the beginning of that, and they go into mass production this year. So, I wouldn't be surprised by towards the end of 2026, you'll see a lot of advertisements, and you'll see a lot of people trying to make it look nice, and trying to make it look cool to wear, or enticing people to buy it and to get it put in their head. It won't be too far along, because now that we know that the grain of rice is here, you know, we are ever so eager to stay prepared and stay in the faith, and kind of excited about it, because we know that this empire, is at its end. And as far as I'm concerned, with America, that America is almost finished. So we gonna get that right now. A couple of precepts. Give me a second. Oh yeah, and by the way, this is if you want to look it up, it's called Russia's icon or icons of Russia, and this was the portrait that I used for my YouTube account, and this portrait is of the Most High, Yahweh Shem Shai and his son, and then you have the angels, and I do believe the prophets that were sitting on the sides of him. I don't know the full interpretation, but you kind of get what they were trying to do when they created this beautiful portrait. So that's Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, and in his lap is Yahweh Shai himself, his only begotten son. And I do believe that scroll in his hand is probably, no, I don't know what the scroll is, but I do believe that that probably is the Bible in his hand. Wouldn't be surprised. You got one of the major prophets down there on the right side of the corner, and his son is also holding the world. I don't know what the dove is, but I do know the dove was had a major role in the story of the deluge, the flood. So I don't know what that means, but it has some sort of significance, and it got these old languages around it that I don't know about. But pretty much, that is the depiction of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai himself. Like it says in the Bible, if you've seen the Son, then you've seen the Father, because we all know that we can't see Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai because he's too magnificent, and you will die if you laid eyes upon him. So the powers that they explain in the Bible are very extreme, very scary, and very, very dangerous. And I don't know how to, demonstrate or to explain to you how extreme and very dangerous it is to play with this type of power. But um, I don't know, the people, the Edomites, and the people of this world, they try to put down this power. They try to make fun of Yahweh Shem. They try to make fun of the Lord, not truly understanding how dangerous it is, to play with this kind of power. So it's a lot of this going around, and the days are coming to where Yahweh Shem Shai is revealing himself, through his wrath, and through these different calamities, and these major signs and these dark prophecies are going to come into play more and more. So I don't know. I can't really explain to you the extremity of this power, but it's pretty extreme. It's pretty dark. It's very frightening to the mere mortals, whatever you want to call them. People, humans. Because they haven't encountered something like this before. And these encounters, they they can see them. No, they can't. No, I ain't gonna say nothing like that, but these encounters are very frightening. That's what I can say. And it's like these people and these elites, they challenge Yahweh Shem Yahushua. They challenge the Lord without really understanding what he can do, like really understanding how frightening he can be. One of his nicknames are the King of Terrors. So we gonna get the we gonna let me get the full view chapter for me. We in Esdras chapter 2. Which verse is this? Verse 1. So the Esdras, the Apocrypha, is the book that's a part of the Bible. You can look at old Bibles like the Vulgate Bible and other Bibles like that are so old that they still have as the book of Esdras appears after Revelations. So a lot of it was a lot of books removed, from the Bible, you know, that were supposed to be a part of it, that tell more stories, you know, that give more prophecies, you know, but it was removed for due to, you know, the enemy and them just doing whatever they wanted, and certain things they don't want to be found, you know. It says the earth was given into the hands of the wicked, who covereth the faces of the judges of thereof, if not, wherein who is he? So, you know, the Edomites during the Renaissance had painted over these figures to make them white, when this is actually the real depiction of Yahweh Shem Yahushai and his son and the angels. And then we got another one of John right here. This is John. I do believe John the Revelator. He was actually black too. So we can read Ezra's second book, Ezra chapter 1. It says, he answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the signs past, which I have told thee before, then thou shalt understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people, which we see now, then thou shalt well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee. So, you know, John and the other prophets were here thousands of years ago, and they got this from Yahweh Shem Yahushai through his son Yahweh the Word. So these prophecies have been there for a long, long time, for a very long time, and they, not too long ago, probably like what 50, 60 years ago, the Israelites had managed to break them down, even though we all know that the government had deciphered it, and the higher ups are aware of the true code, no, the true decode of the Bible being properly broke down. You had Alba Bibbins and One West and other people that knew the truth and broke down the Bible without their help. They did it on their own, and they had the proper breakdowns and they had the proper meanings. And we all know that Alba Bibbins is could be John the Baptist himself, during his time returning to finish the work pretty much and spread the word. So these things are very, very old, very, very old, very ancient, and it was told way long before, and now it's coming to the point to where it's manifesting. A lot of this stuff is manifesting. So it says, for like as all that is made in the world hath a beginning and an end, and the end manifests itself. Even so, the times also of the highest have plain beginnings. It says, and wonder and wonderful works, and endings, and effects, and signs. And everyone that shall be saved and shall be able to escape by his works, and by faith whereby ye have believed, shall be preserved from the said perils, and shall see my salvation in my land and within my borders. For I have sanctified them for me in the beginning. It says, then they shall be in a pitiful case, which have now abused my ways, and they that have cast them away despitefully shall dwell in torments. This is the consequence for people that do away with the Bible and ignore it. They make fun of it, they laugh at it. Some of them don't believe, when they get the proper breakdown, they still don't believe. A lot of people in their ignorance, a lot of our people just under that, spell, and just under delusions and different beliefs and so on. So, you got a lot of our people that believe in different things, even if the proof is before them, they don't believe, because it's a lot of stuff that's coming out right now, and it's a lot of proof and a lot of prophecies that manifest that's telling you that Yahweh Bashim Shai's word is his bond. He telling the truth. You know, he's not lying. You know, and it says, for such as in their life have received benefits, but and have not known me. Right. So he's talking to his people, the children of Israel, and a lot of them don't believe. And the Most High take care of them and make sure that they got a fighting chance in this world every day. He give them blessings. He take care of them. He take care of their children. He makes sure they get opportunities. He makes sure they get their daily bread, all that without them knowing or believing. He still took care of them anyway. So it says, and they have loathed my law while they had yet liberty, and when as yet a place of repentance was open to them, that's the new covenant, a place of return to the promise, the new promise. It says, understood not, but despised it. They did. So we're going to go to this picture real quick. Skip some of these pictures. Let me see if this picture downloaded. I got plenty of these pictures. It's not letting me. We could leave it right there because it got all the prophets in them, the prophets and the kings and all of that. That's Yahweh Shai and them and his prophets, his people. So I do believe this is a part of the resurrection. Yeah, this got to be the resurrection. So it says, well, the prophets, that's their job. Their job is to relay that message to you and to tell you what's going on. And, you know, and hopefully you accept it, that is the door. That is the way out. They are the way out. You know, the Lord had to put angels here in the flesh that would suffer with you and bear with you. And when it was time to escape, they would know the way out. They would know, they would be able to help you and save you. But you got people that ignore it, you know? It says the same must know it after death by pain. And therefore be thou not curious how the ungodly shall be punished, and when, but inquire how the righteous shall be saved, whose the world is, and from whom the world is created. That's true. When the world is reborn, it'll be for the chosen. It says, then answered I and said, I have said before, and now do I speak, and will speak it also hereafter, that there are many more of them which will die than of them that which will be saved. That's true. A lot of people are going to be dying. It's a godless world right now, and it's so few of us that believe. It ain't a lot like you think it is. You know, it's not a lot of us that actually believe and care and send our prayers to the Lord. It don't work like that. It's not a lot of us. It says, like a wave is greater than a drop. It says, and he answered me, saying, like as the field is, so is also the seed, as the flowers be, such are the colors also. Such as the workman is, so also is the work, and as the husband is himself, so is the husbandry also. For it is the time of the world. And now when I prepare the world which is yet not yet made, even for them to dwell and dwell in that now live, no man spoke against me. For then everyone obeyed, but now the manners of them which are created in the world that is made are corrupted by a perpetual seed. So everybody knew, all the nations knew, and all the nations feared Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. It was very present in the ancient times. So, but now we in the future, they disregard him. So it says they disregard him and they worship their own gods. So it says in the world, it says for everyone, it says for then everyone obeyed, but now the manners of them which are created in this world is made and are corrupted by perpetual seed and by law which is unsearchable, rid themselves. So I considered the world, and behold, there was peril because of the devices that were come into it. And I saw and I spared it greatly, and have kept me a grape of the cluster, and of a plant of a great people. That's the Israelites. We know that. It says, "Let the multitude perish then," but that's the elect. That's what he talking about. My correction. It's the chosen among the children of Israel. It says, "Let the multitude of them perish then." Let the multitude perish then, which was born in vain, because their purpose is to serve Yahweh Shem Shai, such as the angels in heaven are the angels on earth. The Israelites are the angels on earth, and their purpose is to worship Yahweh Shem Shai in the heavenly places. They don't want to take their place. The fallen angels don't want to return, so Yahweh Shem Shai is going to do away with them. And when he does away with them, he will bring them back, and they will be clean. And then they will be clean, and they will be holy, and they will be in their purpose, because that is our purpose. Our purpose is to worship Yahweh Shem Yahushai and stay in the heavenly places. Keep everything divided. Angels in heaven and the rest of everything on earth. And even if we are on earth and in the flesh, that is still our purpose. We're supposed to worship Yahweh Shem Yahushai and stay in the heavenly places, which is richness, royalty, power, control, the strongest nation on the earth, all that. So, yeah, that's their purpose. It says, "Let the multitude perish then, which was born in vain, and let my grape be kept and my plant, for with great labor I have made it perfect." Meaning that he put them through a lot of trials and tribulations. He molded them. He groomed them. He taught them. He teach these Israelite men to be followers and to be adamant on the truth and to fight for the truth. Some of them, all they know is the truth. While others, like myself, is still on the journey to becoming stronger. And on the journey to be better. So. With that being said, that's who he's talking about. He talking about the chosen, and at the same time he talked about the chosen pretty much. I hope that I'm one of them. I hope so. You never know, but with that being said, you go through a lot in the truth. The prophets and all of them that got put here on the earth, they went through hell. They went through a lot. They went through unbearable hell. They went through a lot of terror, a lot of sorrow. The Israelites, we've seen a lot of things. We suffered much, but it was for a reason, to make us stronger, and stronger for these times that are coming. It says, "Nevertheless, if thou wilt cease yet 7 more days, but thou shalt not fast in them, but go into a field of flowers where no house is builded, and eat only the flowers of the field. Taste no flesh, drink no wine, but eat flowers only." So he's telling Esdras, which is the prophet, and this is Uriel talking to Esdras, Uriel the archangel. Like Michael, Raphael, and then you got Uriel, then you got Gabriel, and then you got others. So he's fasting. No, he's not fasting, but he's eating. But he told him to go into a field of flowers where no house is builded. So he's in the middle of nowhere. He's in the middle of nowhere. And the angel is coming to speak with him when no one is around. So it says, "And pray unto the highest continually, then I will come and talk with thee." So I went my way into the field, which is called Ardath, like as he commanded me, and there I sat amongst the flowers, and did eat the herbs of the field, and the meat of the same satisfied me. That's right. So, it ain't nothing wrong with being a vegetarian, eating clean. Prophets were very clean. They knew the secret that all the medicines was in the plants. Everything that you needed was growing out of the ground. You just need proper studies, proper guidance. And this prophet, he happened to know everything. So here's another thing that I wanted to point out in this picture particularly. You see these circles around their heads, and then you see the circle around Yahushai. That And even the angels have it. That is the divine knowledge, the divine power that they had. They had extreme knowledge. They had so much knowledge, they were considered divine, which was their proper estate because they angels, yes, angels. But that's why that white, that circle is around them, because they have divine knowledge, they have divine power, and Yahweh Shai is the power source, of course. And he's given them that knowledge. And even the angels have it. They all get it from Yahweh. The power and the knowledge from on high. They know of heavenly things. They know of the secret places of the world. They know animals. They know chemistry. They know history. They know it all, man. The biology of people, like the knowledge that they range in is so crazy, to the point to where they are considered divine. They are divine, but the knowledge is crazy compared to the. It's a lot of prophets like that, you know, that have this knowledge, and nowadays we not as expansive. It's a lot of prophets that try to be expansive with their knowledge, which is very hard to do because we got so many things in this world that can easily distract us. But you do have prophets that do expand their mindset, and they got big brains, bro, big brains. And then at the same time, it's just a simple connection because the real knowledge is in the Bible. So it's a simple connection between you and Yahweh Shem Shai, and that knowledge is the rock. Like I said, I would rather build my house on a rock than built on sand. So when the flood comes, it don't sweep the rock away, but the sand is going to sweep it all away. The sand represent a multitude of different knowledges and religions and other beliefs. The rock represents one source. It comes from one source. So, because the whole point of the Israelites is that they believe in monotheism, which is the belief in one God. So they all believed in one God. They believed in the word. They believed in the Bible, and that's all they needed. But back in the ancient times, you had prophets that studied everything. They knew of everything. They even knew a lot about the spirit world. Because Yahweh gave them that knowledge. But they knew a lot about spirits. They knew a lot about evil spirits, good spirits. They knew about demonic possession. They knew about witchcraft. They knew about a lot of stuff. They never performed it, and I don't think they never came close to it. They just knew of it, and they knew of all this type of knowledge, like the mind of Solomon. Solomon was one of the greatest kings, was the greatest king in the Bible, and he was Yahweh Shai, and he had that type of divine knowledge. They got that knowledge too, so they got big brains, bro. Like Yahweh Shai got. I don't even know what he considers a brain. Like, it's something else, man. It's something. It's very extremely powerful. Like these drawings that these people have created over time. There's the prophets again. Those are the prophets and the followers of Yahweh Shem Shai. So you got the prophets, and then you have the 1/3 that's following him. You got the word of the Bible, and then you got Yahweh Shai in the middle. And look at all those circles. Those circles represent their faith, their knowledge, and they trust in him. And that gives them divine power. So we can keep reading. I like this part right here. Sometimes I like to read the whole thing. It says, "So when I went my way into the field." Second Esdras chapter 1 verse no second book of Esdras chapter 1 verse 26, or I do believe chapter 9. Yeah, chapter 9 verse 26. It says, "So when I went my way into the field, which is called Ardath, like as he commanded me, and there I sat among the flowers and did eat of the herbs of the field, and the meat of the same satisfied me. After 7 days I sat upon the grass, and my heart was vexed within me like before. And I opened my mouth and began to talk before Yahweh the Most High, and said, O Yahweh, thou that showest thyself unto us, thou wast showed unto our fathers in the wilderness, in a place where no man treadeth, and a barren place when they came out of Egypt." And I do believe that's Mount Sinai. that he could be talking about. And thou spokest, saying, Hear me, O Israel, and mark my words, thou seed of Jacob. So now he turns his attention to the Israelites. This is the message. It says, For behold, I sow my law in you. That's the old covenant. And it shall bring fruit in you, and you shall be honored in it forever. That's the promise. The promise that Yahweh would never do away with us. That was a part of the contract through Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, our forefathers. For behold, it says, but our fathers which received the law kept it not. So this is for like future generations. It says, and observe not thy ordinances, and though the fruit of the law did not perish, it didn't go away yet, because the elect. It says, neither could it, for it was thine. So the covenant is forever. The covenant, now we got the new covenant. We can't abide by the old covenant, but the old covenant was forever pretty much. And all of them laws still pertain to the new covenant, but we can't worship that here properly. We need better bodies. We need a better mindset. Our spirit has to be cleansed in order for us to do something like that. So we got the new covenant. That way we can be forgiven and let it back in. And pretty much Yahweh renewed the contract with more benefits, and gave us a second chance. So, and that was through Yahushai's passion. So if Yahushai wouldn't have passed away, wouldn't have died for us, then there would be no new contract. It wouldn't. So it says, yet they received it. Yet they that received it died, because they kept not the thing that was sown in them. Right. So all these laws and all these things of the old covenant actually gave us that cleanliness, gave us that divinity. We lived longer, we were stronger, we were better. But because we turned our back on Yahweh Shemel Shah, we began to worship other false gods. We began to mingle with other nations. We began to lower ourselves to the state of beast, because that's what they call these other nations, beast. And be like them when our estate is in the higher places, which is very disrespectful. That's disrespectful. That's like a rich man throwing everything away to go be with poor people. It doesn't work like that. There is an equilibrium between all of this. And it's certain things that you just can't do, certain things that's just shameful and it's real disrespectful. You can't do. You even disrespect yourselves doing that. That's why the separation between the rich and the poor in our times is so extreme, very extreme. So much so that the rich don't want to get a poor nothing. I mean, they necessarily for the Israelites, they don't share their wealth, but they take care of everybody to the point to where they're taken care of and they don't have to worry about it. There was an equilibrium between them, but they would never come. They were never supposed to converge. They were never supposed to come together, especially playing with heavenly things, and earthly things. You're not supposed to do certain things. So that's why the Lord says that. It says, yet they that received it perished, because they kept not the thing that was sown in them. That's the law. It says, and lo, it is a custom, when the ground hath received the seed, or the sea a ship, or any vessel, meat or drink, that being perished, wherein it was sown or cast into. It says, the thing also which was sown or cast therein, or received do perish, and remaineth not with us. But with us it hath not happened so. For we have received the law. We that have received the law perish by sin, because sin is the transgression of law. That is the truth. It says, in our heart also which received it, our minds. Heart mean mind in the Bible. It says, notwithstanding the law perisheth not, but remaineth in his force. And like it said in the Bible, he is dead while he liveth, because a lot of the Israelites that wander around, they don't know who they are, They don't understand the law. They don't understand the Bible. You got some of these Israelites still going to these churches, and they listening to these pastors, but pastors ain't really explaining nothing, and their Bibles is right next to them, and they not opening it unless the pastor tells them to. They're not going off to go read it on their own. They're not getting that understanding. And some of us who read the Bible without guidance won't understand it. You need guidance. You need to be taught. You need to have that. You need to have somebody to teach you or listen to somebody. And, the prophets is the perfect people, but you got to know how to find them. Or they could find you. It happens like that. It says, and when I spoke these things in my heart, this was a prayer from Esdras too. I looked back with mine eyes, and upon the right I saw a woman, and behold, she mourned and wept with a loud voice, and was much grieved in heart, and her clothes were rent, and she had ashes on her head. Then I let my thoughts go that I was in, and turned me unto her, and said unto her, wherefore thou weepest? Why art thou so grieved in thy mind? It says, and she said to me, Sir, let me alone, that I might bewail myself, and add unto my sorrow, for I am sore vexed in my mind, and brought very low. And I said unto her, what aileth you? Tell me. She said unto me, I, thy servant, have been barren, and had no child, though I had a husband 30 years. And those 30 years I did nothing else day and night, and every hour but make my prayer to the highest. And after 30 years Yahweh heard me, thine handmaid, looked upon my misery, and considered my trouble, and gave me a son. And I was very glad of him. So my husband also, and all my neighbors, and we gave great honor unto the Almighty. So this depiction could also go with Yahushai, because they say that his mother bore him without a man. That did not happen. The man and the woman lay together, and they conceived him, and that's how he was born. So they try to do all of this with the Virgin Mary thing, and make it seem like they try to embrace woman supremacy through that. So it's a lot of Christians that do believe that Mary had a baby without a man giving a seed, because husband mean planner. So husband mean planner. I don't know what wife mean, but I know woman means servant. So husband mean planner. So without a planter, without a seed, and he did have his seed, which he did have a planter, which is his father, and they bore him, and he was born. So it took a couple to make him. That's what this is also saying, because it says, and those 30 years I did nothing else day and night in every hour but make my prayer to the highest. It says, and I nourished him with great travail. So when he grew up and he came to the time where he should have a wife, I made a feast. And so it came to pass that when my son was entered into his wedding chamber, he fell down and died. It says, then we all overthrew the lights, and all of my neighbors rose up to comfort me. So I took my rest the second day at night. And it came to pass, when they had all left off to comfort me, to the end I might be quiet, then I rose up by night and fled, and came hither unto the field, as thou seest. And I do now purpose not to return into the city, but here to stay, and neither eat nor drink, but continually to mourn and to fast until I die. Then I left the meditations where I was, and spake to her in anger. Thou foolish woman, above all others, seest thou not our mourning, and what happened to us? How that Zion, our father, is full, our mother is full of heaviness, and much humbled. It says, and much humbled, mourning very sore. So this story can also translate to his passion. It can. Even if it's talking about different people, it still has similarities to Yahweh's passion. So it says, and now seeing we all mourn and are sad, for we are all in heaviness. Art thou grieved for one son? It says, for ask the earth, And she shall tell thee that this is she which ought to mourn for the fall of so many that grew upon her. It says, for out of her came all the first, and out of her shall all others come. And behold, they all walk almost all into hell or destruction, and a multitude of them is utterly rooted out. That's true. A lot of us be dying. And this is talking about the Israelites that are born into the world. You know, the world, hell is on earth, man, and we born here to suffer. That is our punishment from the Lord. This is the land of captivity. That's what they call it. So it says, when thou shalt make more mourning than she, it says that hath lost a great multitude, and not thou which art sorry before but for one. But if thou sayest unto thee to me, my lamentation is not like the earth's, because I have lost the fruit of my womb, which I brought forth with pains and bare with sorrows, but the earth not so. For the multitude present in it, it is according to the course of the earth is gone as it came. Then I say unto thee, like as thou hast brought forth with labor, even so the earth also hath given her fruit, namely man, ever since the beginning unto him that made her. Now therefore keep thy sorrow to thyself, and bear with a good courage that which hath befallen thee. For if thou shalt acknowledge the determination of Yahweh to be just, thou shalt doth receive thy son in time. So he's talking about reincarnation. So the Lord gives and the Lord takes away. So what he took away, he can give back, which is true. You know, so she lost a son and she's going to get a replacement in time. You know, it says, and shall be commended among women. Go thy way then into the city to thine husband. And she said unto me, that I will not do. I will not go into the city, but here will I die. So I proceeded to speak further and unto her and said, do not so, but be counseled by me. For how many are the adversities of Zion? It says, but comforted in regard of the sorrow of Jerusalem. Right, you're not the only one suffering. That's what he's saying. It says, for thou seest that our sanctuary is laid waste, our altar is broken down, our temple is destroyed, our psaltery is laid to the ground, our song is put to silence, our rejoicing is at an end, the light of our candlestick is put out, the ark of our covenant is spoiled, our holy things are defiled, and the name that is called upon us is almost profaned. Right, slurs. Our children are put to shame. Our priests are burnt. Right, yep. Israelites, a lot of prophets did die. It says, and our Levites are gone into captivity, slavery. We in slavery as it is today. Our virgins are defiled. Yep. Women are defiled. Our wives are ravished. Yep. Corrupted. Our righteous men are carried away. A lot. Yep. A lot of us are, just destroyed. Our little ones are destroyed. That's true. Kids are savages nowadays. A lot of our kids are evil, man. Our young men are brought in bondage. Yep, a lot of young men are going to jail nowadays. And our strong men have become weak. That's true. It says, and which is the greatest of all? The seal of Zion hath now lost her honor. The zeal of Zion hath now lost her honor, for she is delivered into the hands of them that hate us. Man, he not lying. It says, and therefore shake off thy great heaviness, and put away the multitude of sorrows, that the mighty may be merciful unto thee again, and the highest shall give thee rest and ease from thy labor. And it came to pass, while I was talking with her, behold, her face had suddenly shined exceedingly, and her countenance glistered, so that I was afraid of her, and mused what it might be. So he's having a divine encounter. And behold, suddenly she made a great cry, very fearful, so that the earth shook at the noise of the woman. And I looked, and behold, that the woman appeared unto me no more. But there was a city builded, and a large place showed itself from the foundations. Then I was afraid, and I cried with a loud voice and said, Where is Uriel the angel who came unto me at the first? For he hath caused me to fall into many trances, and mine end is turned into corruption. It says, in my prayer to rebuke, and I was speaking these words, behold, he came unto me and looked upon me, and said, Lo, as I lie as one that has been dead, and my understanding was taken from me. And he looked, and he took me by the right hand. So this woman happened to be an apparition, and it could have been Mary herself. You never know, And she was actually talking about Yahushai's passion. So he was meant to be married, but he died before his marriage. Makes sense. So it says, because his marriage is to Israel. That's a part of the. It's not a part of it, but that's who he in love with, the children of Israel. Well, the elect among them, the chosen among them. So it says, and I was speaking these words, and behold, he came unto me, and looked upon me, and said, Lo, as I lay as one has been, as I lay as one that has been dead, and mine understanding was taken from me. And he took me by my right hand, and comforted me, and set me upon my feet, and said unto me, and it says, as I lay as one has been dead, and my understanding was taken from me. Yeah, you can be dead while you're alive, and dead meaning that you don't have no knowledge. No knowledge. You could be the smartest man in the world, and if you don't know anything about the Bible, you don't believe in it, then you're dead. That's what that means. It can mean both ways, but that's one interesting way to put it, being dead. It says, what aileth you? It says, and he comforted me and set me upon my feet, and said unto me, what aileth you, and why art thou so disquieted? It says, and why is thy understanding troubled, and the thought of thy heart, which mean mine? And he said, because thou hast forsaken me, and yet I did according to thy words. And I went into the field, and lo, I have seen, and yet see that I am not able to express, meaning that he is pretty much, these trances are representations of the spiritual world. He's in the spirit world. So it says, and he said unto me, stand up manfully, and I will advise you. Like Yahweh said to Job, gird thy loins like a man. It says, and he said, stand up manfully, and I will advise you. Be of good courage. Man up. Be strong when you see these visions. They be scary though. I ain't even gonna lie. Visions and them dreams, the visions that you be having in your dreams and all that. Some of these people be having dreams of calamities, biblical disasters, signs. It was an old man yesterday that was having them dreams, and he had dreams of wars, riots, famine, devastation, lots of death, demonic possession, demon manifestation, blackouts, and more, man. These dreams these visions can get very scary, very scary. So it says, and he said unto me, stand up manfully, and I would advise you, be of good courage, be strong. Then I said, speak on, my Lord, and in me, only forsake me not, lest I die frustrate of my hope. It says, for I have seen that I knew not, and I hear that I do not know. That's true. A lot of this stuff you wouldn't be able to understand. And he's showing them the spiritual world. It says, or is my sense deceived, or my soul in a dream? Now therefore I beseech thee that thou wilt show thy servant of this vision. It says, he answered me then and said, hear me, and I shall inform thee, and tell thee, wert thou afraid? Wherefore thou afraid? For the highest will reveal many secrets to you, unto thee. Because these prophets, they know a lot of secrets about the spiritual world. They know a lot of foresight, which is visions of the future. They knew a lot of things. They knew a lot of things. So it says, I'm about to close out. It says, he hath seen that thy way is right, for thou sorrowest continually for thy people, and makest great lamentation for Zion. So that's the prophets that's continually worried about Israel, that's continually worried about the elect, trying to call them in, trying to get them to believe, trying to bring them back. try to give them the word and to all Israel, but only the chosen is going to receive it. So it says, this therefore is the meaning of the vision which thou lately sawest. Thou sawest a woman mourning, and beganest to comfort her. Thou beganest to comfort her. But now seeing thou the likeness of the woman is no more, but there appear be a city. It says, and whereas she told thee of the death of her son, this is the solution. It says, the woman whom thou sawest is Zion. So that is Zion. That's Yahweh Shai's. Well, this is Zion. Let's get the proper breakdown from the book. It says, and where she said unto thee, even she whom seest the city as builded. It says, whereas I say, she said unto thee that she has been 30 years barren. Those 30 years were wherein there was no offering made in her. But after the 30 years, Solomon builded the city and offered her offerings, and then bared the barren, then bare the barren a son. It says, and whereas she told thee that she nourished him with labor, that was the dwelling of Israel. But whereas she said unto thee that my son is coming to be coming into the chamber, into his marriage chamber, happened to have failed and died. That was the destruction that came to Jerusalem. So this is the proper breakdown. But it did remind me of the passion of Yahweh Shai. It did. I stand corrected. But it did remind me of his passion. So it says, and behold, thou sawest her likeness, and because she mourned for her son, she beganest to comfort. Thou beganest to comfort her, and of these things which have chanced, these are to be open to thee, unto thee. This is one of the secrets. So it says the destruction that came to Jerusalem. So Jerusalem is a people before it's a place. But first, it's a people before it's a place. But Israel, Zion, is a place. Zion is the holy place, the city that was meant for Jerusalem. But, prior to 70 AD and all the things that they did, Yahweh had to punish them and send them into captivity. It says, and behold, thou sawest her likeness, and because she mourned for her son, thou beganest to comfort her. And it says, and of these things which have chance, these are to be open unto thee. So these are secrets, and this is like a form. This is a decoding of the Bible as well, and the different meanings and the knowledge that the prophets were seeking to know. The Lord had opened it to you, so it has to be unsealed, because the Bible is a sealed book. But to those that the Lord give the knowledge to, the book is unsealed, so you won't be able to read the book in a normal way anymore. Once you balance history, once you have an understanding of different wordings, you got an understanding of who the Bible is talking to, who the Bible is for, and these prophecies, and you can break them down. Once you have all that wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, then you'll be able, the book will unseal, and you'll be able to read it and have a total understanding. And it was actually pretty simple. That's how dumb, the Bible will make you feel, because it's like, damn, I read this book 1,000 times, and how come when I read it this time, when I got this different breakdown, it's talking about something else? Because on the surface, people are reading the Bible on the surface. They're not digging in, and they're not reading the Bible the way it's supposed to be read. So that's what the angel is telling him. And it says, and you need an angel to break it down to you. That's why I said the prophets are angels in the form of men, because they have the proper breakdowns. They know exactly what this book is talking about. So it says, for now the Most High seeth that thou art grieved unfeignedly, and sufferest from thy whole heart for her. So hath he showed thee the brightness of her glory, and the comeliness of her beauty. Because Zion is beautiful. The Israelites are beautiful. It says, and therefore I bade thee remain in the field with no houses, where no houses was builded. For I knew that the highest would show you this. Therefore I commanded thee to go up into the field with no foundation of any building there was. Meaning that he was in the middle of nowhere, and it was nothing but the sky, and that's it. The complete contact with the Lord. So and these things can happen. These things can happen. Different phenomenons in the field and different encounters that people be seeing. Yeah, and a lot of them do happen in the middle of nowhere. It does happen like that. It says, "For in the place wherein the highest beginneth to show his city, there can no man's building be able to stand." And he's talking about these other nations and these different people. He don't want them. He want the children of Israel. It says, "And therefore fear not, let not thine heart be frightened, but go thy way in, and see the beauty and the greatness of the building, as much as thine eyes is able to see." So what he saw was paradise, and it frightened him. He saw the paradise of Zion. It says, "And then thou shalt hear as much as thine ears may comprehend." It says, "For thou art blessed above many other, and art called with the highest, and so are but few." That's true. It says, "But tomorrow at night thou shalt remain here, and so shall the highest show thee visions of high things, which the Most High will do unto them that dwell upon the earth in the last days. So I slept another night and another, as he commanded me." End of chapter, second book of Ezra, chapter 10. So that's what's happening in the last days. A lot of the prophets is getting the message, and they passing the message down to the rest of the children of Israel and to those that listen. So that's what's most important at the end of the day, is for the children of Israel to get the message from the messenger. Now, isn't that funny? Because angel means messenger. So for you is the wisdom and knowledge and understanding. It says, "Wisdom and knowledge and understanding shall be the stability of the times and the strength of salvation. The fear of the Lord is a treasure." That is true. And with this, we through the prophets and having a understanding, I know a lot of things, and a lot of secrets of the Bible and what it was trying to explain, and what Yahweh Shem Yahshua was trying to say. And it's pretty awesome. He's very adamant about his people. He's very in love with them, and he wants to show them much more things that they've never seen, things that they've never experienced. Like he said, very high things in high places. Another one that experienced that was Paul. Paul had experienced that. He had actually went to heaven and experienced a lot of high things, a lot of sacred secrets, a lot of things that you won't find on the ground. So it's a lot of knowledge, man, a lot of knowledge. With that, that'll be the end of this episode. And we're going to go on to the next one. Much blessings to whoever listens. And that's a wrap, pretty much.